right, we are back with another show. It's a TRANSworld podcast. Super excited. Tonight we're here with two people that we love and we love dearly. Also, two people that was a part of the TRANSworld Atlanta season 1. Our beautiful therapist, helper, teacher, Tangela, and her husband is with us, Toni. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Malik and I say this all the time. There's no place we'd rather be than right here with you. I'm your host, Raquel, and my handsome co-host, Malik, is ready to kind of give you guys some good news, some shout outs, some current events, all that good stuff. He's better at that than I am. Malik.
Thank you, and welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. So I would like to highlight Dwayne Crowder. He's the owner and operator of Best Friend, and he's also the CEO and founder of, I believe it's Hope for Vision, if I'm not mistaken. I may be saying that wrong, but he's just a stand-up guy in our community, and he's constantly creating safe spaces for us to exist in. He's always giving a hand and opening himself up, opening his establishments up so that we can have safe spaces. So tonight I would like to shout out Dwayne Crowder. I would also like to highlight...
And before you go, A Vision for Hope. That's the name of his nonprofit organization, A Vision for Hope.
Thank you. And today's news, and actually it's not today's news, and I actually highlighted this on one of our other episodes about SB 140. So we have a group of parents that actually filed a lawsuit against Governor Brian Kemp in hopes of stopping this law or reversing this law that prohibits young trans people from having gender affirming surgery. So I would like to highlight that the lawsuit has been filed. There is nothing new in the news about it, but we got to start somewhere. So I'd like to give kudos to those parents that stood up for their children and filed a lawsuit to have this reversed, and the kid.
Right. So, man, it's such a heavy conversation. I think when I hear about kids in the news and, do you allow your child to transition at an early age? I think it's okay for your child to transition at an early age, especially if the parents are on board. But I think there should be maybe some time, maybe young adults before they actually do the physical transition to make sure that it's really what they want. That's a big deal. But I mean, it's not something that I'm personally dealing with. So I think it's different for every family. I think every family has a difficult decision to make. And the most difficult decision is, how do I protect and stand up for my child as they go through this? Because the world is so ugly. People are so ugly and mean. So I certainly celebrate and congratulate parents that are walking this walk, because you two are. You have a very special daughter, and I've had the opportunity to meet her. But before I jump in, I want both of you, Toni and Tangela, just to introduce yourselves. Tell the people who you are before we jump into this amazing topic tonight.
Go first. Okay. Well, I am Tangela Washington. You'll find our names different. When we got married, I didn't take Thompson because, of course, I was already well established in my community, my business, and I wanted to keep my own name. And so I am a certified master life coach. I live in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. I've lived here twice, amongst other places and out of the country. It's my favorite place to be. And I settled here in Atlanta 25 years ago before coming back, because I was married for 17 years to a man, and I decided to live my truth And I had 2 small children then, and I wanted them to be in an environment that was conducive to their mother's new lifestyle, being lesbian. And so I moved to Atlanta. I felt like this was an environment that would be embracing, and it did not disappoint. I raised those children here to adulthood of an affirming environment, and it's been good to me. I met my Toni at age 50, and I'm a little bit older than that now. And we are the parents of a now 12-year-old transgendered daughter who is most amazing. And it's been a journey. The journey through her transition has been the easiest thing I have done. Not so easy for Daddy, but definitely easy for me. So yeah, that's me. That's who I am.
All right. Come on, Dad. Tell us who you are.
My name is Toni E. Thompson. That is my birth name. So my parents got that part right. Though the world and medical paperwork and all that says transgendered man, I'm just Toni. Always have been Toni. They've been calling me T since the day I was born. I don't believe in labels. I just strongly believe that anytime you put a label on something, you limit it to that one thing. So I really don't refer to myself as trans. I have many trans brothers and sisters, and they call me trans, and I'm fine with it. But if you ask me, I'm so much more than that one word. So I don't say my name is Toni and I'm transgender. That's so limiting. So I'm Toni E. Thompson, and I a proud parent, and I'm a proud husband, and I've been accepted, and I've always been accepted by my family. They've walked with me from tomboy to lesbian to the man I am today. And I have many different stories in the most transgender person. Since we're talking about that, I will say that word. But I'm happy in my life. I'm over 60 years old, and I've watched the world change so much as far as the LGBT, ABC community. There's so many.
Love of it.
All that, and it's like, it's just living in your truth. And to me a lot, because I was allowed to live in my truth to be 60 years old and to always have been accepted by family and the community. But I'm from the West Coast, so it's a little bit different out there, a little bit more liberal. And though I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, but being brought up in the West Coast, it was much, much different. It was quite a culture shock when I moved here with Tangela 10 years ago. The stories I heard about people giving up on their kids and kicking the kids out, I have never heard anything like that. That just blows my mind.
Very common.
And
common in the South.
I had never, like I said, it was a culture shock, just like the old movie Different World. When I came out here, definitely was a different world for me. All the black people and everything, I'm a suburban kid, but in regards to our daughter, loving my life, just an honest child, an open child, who also does not like to be referred to as transgender. She's a little girl. She told us when she was, 3-4 years old, that's who she was. And we don't say our trans little girl. She was 5. Yeah, she was 5 when she came to us and gave us a family meeting and said, I need to talk to y'all. She said, when she did just like this. She says, in my mind, blinking, and in my heart, girl, I hope she will love me. And the only thing I could say was, Daddy love you, don't matter, and I promise I won't cut your hair no more. Because I used to cut their hair every Friday. So it's like you said, how do you parent a transgender child?
Yeah, but Toni, we're going to get into all the details of her. But before we do that, I want to set the tone for our listeners and our audience. I want everybody to know that we lead with love on this show, and this is a safe place for us to express ourselves and to share our authentic truth. We have lots of conversations around love, mental and physical health support community and what that really looks like. And we're open to all topics as it is referred to in the LGBTQIA community. So know that, we lead with love, and this is a safe place. And our number one goal is to educate people. And today we're talking about parenting a transgender child. We've already tapped into it a little bit. And I'm going to allow Tangela and Toni just to walk us through from the beginning to now. They just told us that their daughter was five when she came to them and said, "Hey, stop cutting my hair. Let my hair grow." So start at 5 and walk us through that experience and the ups and the downs, the challenges. We want to hear it all.
Okay, so this is how it started. The baby knocked on the door, probably around, 7. She came in and she gave us a letter. She was 5. She had written. Now, she couldn't write. She couldn't read at 5. Some kids can. Serena could not. She was a premature baby. And she gave us a letter and ran out the room giggling. So we opened it up, and of course it was scribbled. And we thanked and hugged her, And she came back in and she said, "Did you read it?" Well, we couldn't read it because there's no words on it, right? And I said, "We could read all the words, so if you could read it to us, that would be good." And so she climbed up in the bed and she got the letter and she started reading. And it said, "Dear Daddy and Mommy, I am a girl. My mind and my heart is a girl. Only my body is a boy. Please do not call me him anymore. I love you." And then she got off the bed and ran out. And so I looked at Toni, because what I know is, like all parents, when you have raised a baby from infancy, you know who that child is. And so I always expected that she was probably going to be homosexual. That's what I thought. The tendencies that I saw in her, the clothing she picked out, the way she walked, the things she chose the dolls instead of trains. Those are just things she wanted to sew early on.
That baby couldn't walk, but she could run in high heels.
She would,
like when she was 3-4 years old.
Remember being the fun of that with my heels on, like clerking around the house, like a little kid. So this was a little bit different, hearing this from her, hearing her articulate, because we are talkers, right? We are talkers, not TVers, or, you know what I'm saying? We're readers and we are speakers. And so to hear her articulate this at this age, it was, I was taken aback, right? For me, I had already fast forward to all that this might mean for us and for her. What kind of world we're in, what kind of world it's just going to be hard. It's going to be hard. So I thought we'll let her develop this, let her show us where she is and where she fits in this space that she is telling us about. And Toni, while he was open to this, has started a grieving process almost immediately, like my son, because he always had hopes of a football player or a baseball player, certainly not heels and hair and lashes. That's definitely not what he had hoped for this baby, because he had already started that training.
That baby got an arm.
See?
That baby had an arm. You hear me?
At
5.
already training.
That baby had an arm for some baseball. Really.
So that was a struggle too that we would be having over the next few years as well.
But people don't talk about that. They don't, because it really was a mourning process. I lost my son, though I gained my daughter. I grieved as if it was a death. And it put me in a situation, like, it made me reflect on my own parents, that my parents had to deal with me. And I'm like, man, you know how your parents always say, oh, you'll know when you have your own kids. is right. And I saw sometimes how my parents would look at me like, and now I look at her like that, like wondering what if. And it is a grieving process because it hurt because Sir was gone. Sir was gone. When we said, yes, you can be whatever and whoever you want to be, Sir left. Sir was gone.
Yeah.
And I know that little boy loved me. That little boy loved me, followed me everywhere, had a little bubble lawnmower, good cut the grass and everything with me. But all of a sudden, when we said yes, that baby's eyes smiled, face smiled. It was like the baby always looked sad. And when we said, you can be you, everything about that child changed.
At mine.
That's fine.
And what we thought, what I had always thought, because, I've got my own emotional things, not growing up with my mom and growing up with an aunt because she was 13 when she had me, and then 15 when she had my sister, and not telling the family it was an uncle who fathered us. They moved her to Columbia, South Carolina. So moved her away from whoever could have been impregnating her at that young age, since she wouldn't tell who. So I didn't grow up with my mom, right? All the other children she had thereafter did, and my aunt raised me. So now that I'm raising a child through adoption, I am thinking this child may feel that disconnect that I always felt not being with my own mom, Though we've always been open and honest, like, my daughter is your mom. She's your birth mom, that I'm your mommy, Always explaining that and making sure she knew wherever you ever want to be is where you can be, right? This is home, and she's only known us as parents, but you can be wherever you want, So I always felt like that sadness that we saw in her eyes, that melancholiness that followed her everywhere, was because of the disconnect, right? But it wasn't that. Because they were such a freedom that came with every level of her discovery of her new self, right? Every level opened up this kid that I never knew. The first thing was, she was at 6 now, you're in school. At home, you can wear panties. So I went to Walmart, we got her panties. So at home, she wore panties, tutus. She wore little girl clothes. At school, she wore boy uniform, right? So for the outside world, and she knew the difference. For the outside world and school, she was Sir. And on the inside, she was still Sir, but she wore girl clothes, or she'd go to school in girl panties. She loved that. She felt so
empowered.
Oh yeah, she would twirl, honey, she had those panties on. And then the day came where they went on a trip. You went to see your family.
Yeah.
How old is she on this trip?
7.
Yeah, she was 7. And then I was going to go take her to see my family. We was going out for a break.
And you done packed her up with all the matching.
Yeah, I had packed her up. Well, we had little matching shirts and short sets. We were going to Las Vegas, and I had let her hair grow out. We had put some extensions in there, baby. That baby was whipping her hair. But I packed all boy clothes. Now, she had already put all her dresses and the tutus and everything in there. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't feel like trying to explain that this trip. So I'm like, I put all the stuff in. And then we got to Vegas and we opened up to the luggage and she saw her stuff went in there. Oh my God. I felt like I had killed her bunny or something, because the look that was on her face was like, I went to follow, just let her go crazy, because it hurt my heart to see that she really wanted what she wanted. So I said, you know what? Go on, get what you want. Go on, get what you want. And she was happy, but it was like I killed her toy or something. It was bad. It was really bad. When I saw it on her face, and she didn't cry or nothing, but she's like, but you said, and I'll never go back on my words. So I just had to go buy all new little tutus and rainbow stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's a testament to the parents that you are too. I think so many parents are so stubborn, so stuck in what they want, what they think, what they feel, that oftentimes the child is left kind of deserted. if you will. They're not heard. They're not catered to. So I think kudos to you both, especially you, Dad, and having walked, that line yourself, like you said, seeing your parents grieve, but having enough strength to say, to hell with this, let's go get this tutu. I can't walk around feeling like this. I fucked up. I should have not taken your things out. I totally did.
I did. I did.
Yep. After I told you.
It's grown me. That baby has grown me to the point that she made me a better person.
Lies. That's interesting, man. Like at the age of 5, your child comes to you and say, hey, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl.
And to try to write a letter to explain that.
In my mind and in my heart, okay? In my mind and my heart, I'm a girl. Please don't call me him. That I can see how that could be completely devastating, right? Scary. All those things. I can't imagine it, right? I have 2 kids, 2 biological children that I pushed out. I can't imagine it. And I'm pretty open, but when I think about my children, I would be rocked back a good bit. Like, I don't know if I could respond how Tangela and Toni responded. And that's my truth.
That's heavy.
I don't think I would have gone that route.
Yeah, that's heavy. I probably would have been in the prayer closet like, Lord, what do I do? Like, that's heavy.
And then, you're on edge because you're being judged. You got to worry about what people going to say, how they going to look at your baby. Like, I can almost feel how defensive I would be all the time.
Yeah. Instantly go into protection mode.
Yeah, because the world is so cruel. That's exactly what I was about to say. The world is so cruel, and to think that my child isn't safe, because trans men are a bit safer than trans women, period.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you have a trans daughter. So it's almost like being Black and worrying about your Black son driving.
Correct.
That's what having a trans daughter is equivalent to me. So it's terrifying. Like I can't
deal with the world saying, how does a child at that age know what he or she wants?
Mm-hmm.
Which is how government has now maneuvered into the arms of, transgender parents.
Absolutely. Toni, Tangela, I know the weather is bad there, and you guys are having some technical difficulties. And we're just talking through our personal feelings. We're still waiting on you guys to come back in, but
I
I'm not sure. We still don't have you out just yet. Okay.
Yeah, I certainly commend them for giving the yes. I mean, because
Absolutely.
you never know where now Serena would be mentally had they said no.
Yeah, man, you're right.
At 5, she knew what she wanted.
Okay. Yeah.
I commend them.
Let me ask you, so you and this is something that the audience doesn't know. We're going to definitely get into this. You are a trans man. So yes, guys, Malik is trans. And I'll tell you this story later, but when I met Malik looked like this, and he had not transitioned, by the way. And I did not know until someone told me. But you birthed a son. You have a biological child.
I do.
So you know exactly what it's like to be a parent and be ridiculed. You got a son.
I do, but when I had my son, transitioning was not in my mind. what I say.
Mm-hmm.
I was a gay stud, and I knew that I wanted to have a child, and I knew that I needed a boy because I didn't.
You didn't know what to do.
I needed a boy because I wouldn't have known what to do with a little girl. So
Let me ask you this, because I shared my truth about if my children said that to me, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been able to walk that line like Toni and Tangela did. What if your son had come to you and said, "Hey, Dad, hey, Mom, whatever he called you, I feel like I'm a girl in my brain and in my heart." What do you say?
I believe I would have been fine with it because all my life I was a tomboy. And, when I came of age and learned about the different letters of the alphabet and,
LGBTQIA.
Yes, it gave me freedom. So, I can think back to when, how your parents used to take you to take pictures with Santa Claus. And they put me on a sailor dress and told me to grab my shoes, I had on my flip-flops, I think, at the time. And they told me to grab my shoes that goes with the little sailor dress. Well, when we got to Santa Claus, I pulled out my cowboy boots. And there was nothing they could do about it because we was already at the place.
Wow.
I don't remember much about my childhood, but that is a story that I've never forgotten. So, but yes, I have a 31-year-old son now, and when we're out and about, people think he's my brother because we look.
Yes, y'all do. Y'all look like twins almost.
But he was a planned child because I knew that, at that time, I liked women. So he was a planned child. I wanted my own biological child, and his cedar. We are very good friends. He's not on his birth certificate because it wasn't like that. He was a planned child.
Right.
But he is in his life.
I think it's dope that 31 years ago, you feel fairly confident that if Dre had come to you and said, "Hey, Dad, hey, Mom, I want to be a girl," that you could say, "Okay, let's figure that out." I think that's dope. Especially because you mentioned, and you say this all the time, I was judgmental. I never thought I would date a trans woman. I was judgmental.
Very judgmental.
But to turn around and say, you know what, if my son said that to me, then yeah, we'll figure it out. That's dope. That's dope.
Because I was very so because I didn't have the knowledge that I have today, but I knew that I was gay.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wanted to have my own biological child. And so, I grew up playing with Tonka trucks, and my father brought me go-karts and four-wheelers. So it's like they catered to who I was at the time, and so now here I am full circle, a full-grown trans man.
Toni and Tangela?
Yes.
So I want to ask you guys, and Malik just said to me that, you know what, if my son has said to me, I feel like I'm a girl in my mind and my heart, he felt pretty confident that he could roll with it. And I was saying that, nah, I don't think I could. In 2023, I don't think that I could. So kudos to you guys, because if I'm being really honest with myself, I just don't know if I can deal with the ridicule of people and always being defensive of what you might say to me or my child. I don't think I can do it, or could do it if I had to be faced with that. So Serena's 7. Dad, you go and you buy these colorful clothes because you took that baby's clothes out of that suitcase. You go buy those clothes, and now you got to introduce this this baby to your family, right?
No, I didn't introduce her at all because they know me and they know how I was throughout my life. They already knew.
Okay.
They already knew. And about you had just said something about what you couldn't do. But what we have to realize is even they know. They're on the internet, they're out in public, and they know how they would get ridiculed. One time Sarita was she had come home from school and put on her tutu. This is when she was in the uniform. She put on her tutu and some old bright colored neon looking outfit, and they were at the Walmart. And you know how kids were there, they were small, so she was in the basket, and one of her sisters was with her, and mom was with her, and they were going through the store and, you know, playing the clothes, you know how kids do. And she saw one of her friends from school. Baby, that baby was trying to hide in that stove in between the hands that could cover herself up, because she even knew at that age that if one of her friends from school saw her, their school the next day was going to be hell. So as though she was confident and secure with her tutu on at home, okay, we just run to Walmart. Oh, that baby was trying to hide for her life. You know, so even at a young age, they know that she gonna have hell to pay if someone sees her. And that's almost sad.
So that is insane. Yeah, so it also begged the conversation, because up until then, not dressing you or changing the look or school was not necessarily her idea as much as ours, like a thought of gradually changing, maybe even changing school so that school as itself from the beginning. But now this was the first time we realized, hold up, slow up. You don't want to go there like this yet either. So we got to talk about what this reintroduction will look like.
So
what do you think?
So we let her homeschool for 2 years. And during that time, I let my growing hands get in her hair, and we grew her hair, let her work on her mannerisms, her walk and her talk, and just her being her. And when we put her back in school, fourth grade, and I wouldn't talk to the teachers, the principals and everything. I had a meeting with the school first, and they said, who she comes in here as is who we will address her as. Yeah, because I had to make sure it was going to be okay, wasn't going to be a big deal because she's going to the girl bathroom, because she's going in looking like a girl. And then the principal told me, look like a girl, she's a girl. And no one will know other than me.
That's big.
And then what?
That's big.
Yeah, so it's not like there's not no special permits, or we had to go to superintendent. They let that baby go to school. She's in middle school now, and she goes to school as herself without having to go to the nurse's office to use the bathroom or anything like that. She's going to school as herself.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So she's in middle school. Does her peers know that she's trans, or they have no idea?
She's a little girl.
I think we lost you guys.
She's a little girl.
Okay.
They have no idea.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
You guys.
And allow her to be her most authentic self too.
Oh.
Have you guys ever received any pushback from anybody that knows that she's trans, or that you all allowed her to live her authentic life?
So I will tell you this. When before she came out, she was we were missing socks. Something as simple as missing socks. Always missing socks. So I always buying socks. Like what's happening? Is the machine eating them? Are you throwing them away? Where are your socks, honey? Your footies? And she's like, I don't know. Well, we found the socks, and she was cutting them up. We had started buying the Barbie dolls because that's what she was asking for Christmas, for her birthday. She wanted dolls, Doctor Who dolls, Barbie dolls, just any kind of figurine dolls. She was taking the socks and cutting them up and making clothes and changing the dolls' clothes. And so that's what she was doing with the socks. Cutting arms out, cutting necks, stretching them. And so when we found out, she said, well, could you teach me how to sew and get me fabric or some material so I could make them? So we went to the Walmart to get the little swatches, and Eddie taught her how to sew with a needle and thread. So she began then to lay her own clothes out on the swatches and cut around it and sew it up to make like shirts now.
In a pattern.
And for her little sisters, right? And her bigger sister. So she started sewing by hand. Well, in sewing by hand, she would actually be making clothes. And so she would be making like dresses, patterns, sewing up and down the sleeves. No hems or anything like that. But she would put it on and be printing and stuff. And one time we got her some fabric that looked like fur. Yeah. And she made a jacket and she put it on. And I started singing and videoing her based on a commercial that was out that said, I wear my hair like this because I care, watch me walk. So I started singing that and mimicking it to what she was doing. I wear my clothes like this because I can, watch me walk. And she was walking it out, and modeling. And we posted that on Facebook because it was cute, right? And we got a call, an email from
Huffington Post.
The Huffington Post. They emailed and asked for my number because they saw and they sent that video back and said they will piece on CERT and could they call. And so we talked to them and they said, the piece we want to do is that she could be the next Michael Kors, or the next Calvin Klein, that this 5 or 6 year old is sewing her own clothes by hand. Can we post this article? And they sent the article that they wanted to send for approval. We approved it. They published it. And boy, oh boy, did the internet blow up.
The hate mail started.
We got hate mail emails. We got emails from Belgium, Africa, the Philippines. Some are saying what do you want? You want your son to be fucked in the ass, and that what you're trying to do, turn him into a faggot? Things as harsh as that. We had emails from those same places saying, what amazing parent to allow your child to be so free and creative. So it was half and half, Yeah. I would say more good than bad, but the bad was so really and hurting. And then our family started responding and our friends started responding. And when I say I have a lot of friends, right? They started responding. It became an online war. I had to shut down our internet presence, period. I had to just shut it down, remove everything, right? And ask people, just leave it alone. But one of the intrinsic value that we believe is in the Imago Dei, like we believe we are the Imago Dei, we are the image of God. Whatever we are, it is the image that God has made us. We are demigods. We're like God. So however we identify or find ourselves being, that is what God created. And so that makes it easy to walk this walk with her and our brothers and sisters. Me, Toni has always been, Toni E. Thompson has always been. I've always been attracted to masculine-centered women, but this is my first time with a man in this body. And he take his adjustment from me as well. This was more adjustment than my baby. But you because you do believe that this is too the image of God, it makes it a no-brainer. But yeah, it wasn't an easy one. Everything wasn't easy. My mom, my mother and my father, same gender loving. They've been together 30 years. My father accepted Serena, saying he always knew. My mother had a hard time with it. A hard time. I'm going to say probably just in the last 2 years has she started saying she and not he. This was so hard for her. It was hard. It was hard for her to understand how I could let her be this and not this handsome, that she is obviously going to be. That we need young, articulate, strong men that she is. How can, you know what I'm saying? Even in talking, I cannot refer to her as anything other than what she is. But it was hard for my mom, hard, difficult. And she loved us, period.
Yeah, he's so angry when she would say he.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's a really, yeah.
I just want to shift gears just a little. Serena is now 12, right?
She'll be 13 in October.
So she's 12 and turning 13. What's life like for her now with family, friends? Like, at 12, you cannot start liking boys and girls, right? Like, how does that work? Like, she's at the age where definitely stuff starts to percolate a little bit. What's that like now?
Well, woo. So first of all, puberty. That's the first thing. Puberty. So we've gone through all of the psychiatric evaluations, right? So we've had counseling, all of that. They have cleared her as female. She is definitely female. It's not dysphoria. She's not displaced. This is who she is. As she hits puberty, and she was a late bloomer.
Because she's a preemie baby.
She's been seeing an endocrinologist, right? Because we've been waiting for puberty to start so that she can start medication. Now there's medication that is reversible, okay? That she can take that will suppress. It will just suppress. It won't change anything. That happens at 18, where she begins to see the development of breasts, the softening of skin, the curvature of her body. It won't do that. That happens at 18 when she's able to consent, the legal age of consent. But at the age of puberty, we can consent for her with her permission, right, to subtract her testosterone. That suppresses it. We are struggling now with the insurance company, and I have great insurance because she is approved. The doctors have approved her. We're ready to go and get the shot, which is the progesterone. I can't think of what it is, but it's the shot that you get for 3 months, and then you get it every 3 months, right? She's just hitting puberty.
Lupron.
Honey, I went in her room one day to wake her up and got the shock of my life because she bathes herself. I don't see her. I don't see that. And what I saw, right. I was like, when did that happen? How did it happen? Like, I'm buying what they call gas panties. I buy those online for her. She wears, she doesn't tuck yet, right? But it suppresses enough because she swims every day and she swims with her sister and her friends and things like that, right? So,
look, hold on a second, because I know somebody doesn't know. I know someone doesn't know what tuck means. Explain that.
So tucking is when you take the genitals, you don't just press them between, you pull them between your legs and pull them back towards your buttocks. And there is a cavity there that you push everything up into. So she does not tuck. It's what the drag queens do when they wear the G-strings and you can't see their scrotum or their penis. So instead, everything just where it is in the panties, but the panties have an indentation like a vagina. So that's the imprint you see from clothes on the outside, from a bathing suit. If you wear a pair of tight jeans, you
camel toe.
Yes, there's a camel toe. Right. Except now, The junk has gotten past the point of the gas helping. Correct. So she is well endowed. Now, here is the other thing when we talk surgeries and things, because we talk about everything. And I've spent quite a bit of money for the development of breasts, like the inserts, implants that you can just put in your bra. When she has now decided that she don't want to wear them at all after I paid all the money for them. She has seen the Victoria's Secret models, and she is like, I like my flat chest. I love it. Because she's also lost about 20 pounds. So she's thin and tall. She's sprouted up, and she's feeling and looking very model-esque now. And she's loving that look. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she wears the...
Low, yeah. Like, you know how those models be really flat chested because they have such low fat content? But she's falling a little bit about that. My older daughter came over one day, and she's a former little model, and she doesn't have, she says, that's how I want to look. He likes that. Who was that?
Anyway, so now...
Twinkie, the Twinkie look.
I paid for titties that are in the drawer.
No.
That's what I know.
This is it, Raquel and Malik. This is it.
The framework.
Oh, and they're beautiful. They were beautiful. They're beautiful. And they sitting over there in the drawer. Look, I'm going to be the dad, Malik. I'm going to be the man. I'm finna handle these doctors. They going to deny us. We probably sure you're going to deny me. So I called the doctor about this loop for stuff. I said, well, you know what? You said you was going to send a prescription over there, and y'all denying this prescription. Well, how much is it? Just tell me how much it is. Because I'll just pay for it. Because I'm going to be the daddy. You hear me?
$2,800.
Let me look this up, Mr. Thompson. And she up there, you hear the clicking in the backyard. She's okay, Mr. Thompson. I have a figure for you. It's $17,300. Look, that bass got all up out of my voice. I went down to the plan a lot. Okay.
Wow. So how do we handle the genital? Like, I mean, it's one thing to have breasts or not have breasts. What do you do with the parts that are growing naturally?
That whole teaches what to do.
Yeah, because we just don't know. We're taping. They have a line on trending websites for clothing.
I have to buy a special underwear,
which is like so special underwear, and then there's this little strip that you pull it off and just tape under and keep her shape.
Yeah, it looks like a panty liner, but it takes it down.
But here is the other thing that has always been her position, which of course I don't understand it. And as she grows, perhaps it will change, maybe not, I don't know. But she feels like she's in the right body. Her body is correct. God did not make a mistake in putting her in a masculine body. This is the body God intended for her to have, right? Inside, she is intentionally by God female, and outside intentionally by God male. And so she will never change that because it is the right construction for her.
Wow.
Now, I don't know how to handle that. I know how to handle, and I can understand and process that you're in the wrong body and you got to make it match. You got to get the breasts off if you're a girl. I know this part, right? Even in reconstruction down there, I got that. But that this is right, just how it is, I don't got that.
It's a process. I think it's even with you guys being as open and amazing as you are, it's still a process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely.
I don't know. So what do you do about dating? Like how what do you do about dating? How does she go about dating? That time is coming. You got a couple.
We don't want to know about that right now.
You got a couple years. Like you're talking about my daughter. My daughter just asked me, like, Mom, how old am I going to be when you allow me to date? And I'm like, holy shit. You're 6, so why are you thinking about this? They think about these things, and I, off the top of my head, I was like, okay, 8th grade, 9th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. So you're gonna go around the corner from me.
Conversations in school. That's my boyfriend. Don't you talk to him. They already having a conversation.
So
Yes.
what does dating look like?
I don't know. I don't know. What we'll do is the word says, I don't know. The beautiful thing about this for me is she has natural sisters. One of them is
16.
14.
13?
She just turned 14. Okay. She's 14, and then she has one 11. So they'll be 12 and 15 respectively, September and January. In February. And so they talk about boys, they giggle about boys, they're online, and doing all of those things. She says she is a little girl. She's a girl. She will marry a man one day. He will, of course, be a special man. These are things that she said. So she thinks about it too. And how she does that, like we will walk through that with her. Or just be patient, just like now. We talk sex. We talk sex and her doctor talks sex, like what that means for your body, what it means for your body with a woman, what it means for your body with a man, like as embarrassing as it kind of feels. That last visit was that kind of conversation. And when she left, she said, this is the first visit with this doctor that I feel good. I feel like she's talking to me like I understand, saying things that I want to know, and speaking to me like I'm not a 5-year-old. So she's very mature. She's very it is. When you say that, do 2 of them.
It's a lot. We can have this conversation all night, and I think this conversation definitely helps a lot of people. But we got to wrap. We got to close out. I am so happy that you guys are able to stand with Sabrina, that you're advocates for her, that you do the work as parents. I think it's amazing. So keep doing what you're doing. And either of you can answer this question. To a parent who has a young transgendered child, what words would you leave them with?
There are no, even if there were books on this, your child is unique. Your child is an individual, and they are navigating this new life just as you are. Take your time and use the tools that God has given you. And the most important tools are, you have 1 mouth and 2 ears. Use those tools. They'll be the most helpful. Listen.
That's amazing. Tangela, I love you so much. Toni, I love you too, guys. Thank you so much for sharing and being open. I think these conversations are so important. As I stated to you guys earlier, they're both in TRANSworld Atlanta. Tangela has a very special job in season 1 of Trans One Atlanta, and it was a clusterfuck that she got through. So I can't wait for you guys to see season 1 and see Tangela in all her glory. If you guys are looking for a life coach, especially in the LGBTQIA community, make sure you find her, because I think she's able to help my cast during her sessions. I think she brought some clarity to them. So make sure you reach out to her. We're going to jump into sponsorship. Malik, talk to us a little bit about sponsorship.
Yes, thank you. Here on It's a TRANSworld podcast, we are creating a safe space for our trans brothers, sisters, and non-binary counterparts. We would love to advertise your business on It's a TRANSworld podcast. We're also looking for community partners and sponsors. For more information, please reach out to myself or Raquel. Follow us on IG at RAQUELRT3. That's Raquel. Follow us at TRANSworld ATL, and you can follow me at that's the number 1 gorgeous _ for church boy BOI. And also please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dream Catchers Production. Thank you.
Yeah. So guys, we call this a cookout, and you know how we do when we get at a cookout. We laugh, we eat, we have a good time. But until next time, we want to leave you with this. It's the TRANSworld podcast is to educate those about the trans experience and to highlight the importance of equality because we're all human. We want to explore the diverse experiences, challenges, and triumphs of the transgender and non-binary communities. We do this out of love, and we want to keep having authentic conversations that educate, that support, and help those in our community. I'm your host, Raquel, and until next time, and we want you to know that love is love. Love is love. It's a TRANSworld podcast. Guys, we'll see you next time.